Yo, what's up everybody? Geno here. Today, I'm talking about the master levels for Doom 2. Doom 1 delivered an innovative masterpiece of a game, and with Doom 2, 10 months later, a deeper yet more flawed experience. In the time between their next major release, Quake, they released an expansion for Doom 1 within the Ultimate Doom pack, and for Doom 2 they released the master levels. Not too long after Doom 1's initial release, the modding scene was already making leaps and bounds, creating map editing tools, and really taking the Doom format to new territory. Some companies would rip this community-created content off the internet and sell them in bundles, like with D-Zone and other lesser-known packs. They would often be sold as compilations of hundreds or even thousands of maps at a time. idsoft didn't like that, so to combat them, they contracted 6 of the best mappers at the time to release their own content officially. Bundled with that, they added Maximum Doom, which was a bonus that had 3,461 unique maps. Of course, the quality varies greatly, but this makes purchasing the official content master levels nullify the use of these other companies from scalping community content for their own profit. The name Master Levels derives from the fact that these are the master mappers of Doom, giving us these missions. However, the title suggests the idea that these levels are for only those who've mastered Doom itself. It will put every skill to test, tough encounters, testing endurance, offer challenging platforming and puzzles. This is not for casual enjoyers of Doom. The Master Levels features 20 individual WADs. Each mission was created as a standalone map, and over the course of the years, these missions have been rearranged with every release. And up until the latest release, Doom 1+2, every mission was a forced pistol start. Due to them being made this way, that means there's no design continuity between maps. Lastly, even though in my version I'm playing, they don't force the pistol starts anymore, I see that as a casualization of this release, and I'm going to be opting for the pistol start as a self-imposed challenge. The order I'm going to play these missions isn't necessarily the best way, but just for the flow of the video, I'll play these maps made by one mapper before moving on to the next. Before Master Levels, Tim Willits gained notoriety for first his Empire series, which would later be remade and expanded on with his Raven series. After his inclusion on the Master Levels, as well as Doom Episode 4 maps E4M5 They Will Repent and E4M9 Fear, Willits would go on to join id and work on titles such as the Quake series, Doom 3, and eventually become co-owner of id Software for a time. But the real question at hand is, were his maps any good? Willits has 2 maps, Attack and Canyon. Both are great entry-level maps to the Master Levels. They have great pacing, good layouts, not too challenging, nothing too hard to figure out. They're just all around very solid levels. Comparing this to Doom 1's Hangar and Doom 2's Entryway, Attack would be the best first mission of the 3. Willits seems to have good sense of layout. His maps are rather simple in concept and design, but the layout of them seems well put together. These 2 maps are always placed at the beginning of Master Levels no matter what release it is. And if they were thrown later on, I might say they're a bit too easy for Master Levels, but being the introductory maps, I think this bridges the end of Doom 2 to Master Levels quite nicely. After playing these 2 missions, as well as Willits' 2 missions on Thy Flesh Consumed, I'm actually pretty curious about his Raven series. Next up is Christian Cly, who was a Doom mapping machine. Notable for his Chris K series, his Thud series would remake 7 of the Chris K maps, converting them to Doom 2 versions, as well as having new maps exclusive to the Thud series. He also made, with the help of another mapper, Bob Carter, the commercially released Lost episode of Doom, which was a 3-episode level pack bundled with a novel which would tell the story of this release. Out of everyone to be selected for the Master Levels, Chris submitted the most, by far, and also had the most accepted, having 6 entries in this pack, as well as 6 outtakes. I know they're outtakes, so they weren't included in the initial release of Master Levels, but I wish this pack had included all of the outtakes as a bonus. They were included in Maximum Doom, I'm pretty sure, but that's not in any current Doom collection available. Cly's first 3 maps, the Catwalk, the Combine, and the Fistula, seem like they were all started off with their titular set piece as its initial concept, but Cly would expand on these maps, adding plenty of fun challenges. You can tell where he got the inspiration for some of these by the heavy chasm influences he puts into these maps, and I appreciate it a lot. It really elevates his maps and makes him stand out from the rest. His latter 3, Subspace, Subterra, and the Garrison, are more difficult and at times can feel a bit janky, especially the Garrison. But I adore the aesthetics and designs of Cly's maps. Subspace has a lot of outdoor areas, the green grass paired with the night sky. It feels like Doom, yet it's an environment we never got in the official experiences. Subterra might be his least appealing map. It takes place almost entirely in underground tunnels. It's not a bad map, but it's certainly no Subspace. The Garrison is also a neat aesthetic. It feels like some kind of medieval barracks, and of course throwing in a chasm segment is an easy way to please me. Not that the previous or later mappers are bad, but I think Christian Cly is my favorite of the bunch, and after playing this, it really makes me curious why his other maps were outtakes. Are they not up to quality with the rest of these? I'm definitely going to check those out, as well as some of his other series that I mentioned earlier. And if I had to pick my favorite from his selections, it has to be Subspace. The reason Cly is my favorite is because his maps, even Subterra, which is my least favorite from Cly, I know Garrison's janky, but it still has a nice charm to it. I like the aesthetic. All of his maps, I honestly can't wait to go back and play again. Overall, if there was one thing about Cly I wish he would have improved his maps a little bit with, I honestly think they could have been harder. Other mappers in this collection, like Dr.Sleep and Cranium, their maps are really, really hard. Cly, he's more beginner friendly, and his maps aren't as difficult, but that aside, they still are the best designed maps in my opinion. Aesthetic-wise, layout-wise, they're not too overly cryptic. They're fun your first playthrough, they're fun your 10th. The next mapper I'll go through is Tom Mustang, aka Paradox. He was one of the developers for the Heretic editing utilities and got to visit idsoft, where he met Sean Green, showed him a map he was working on, which was heavily inspired by American McGee's Doom 2 stage, The Inmost Dens. McGee told Tom to go make his own geometry, and he then went to create his sole entry to the master levels, titled Paradox. After the master levels, Tom would go on to join Team TNT and work on part of Final Doom, as well as make a few maps for the collaborative effort Memento Mori, music for commercial Doom releases like Icarus and Hell to Pay, and a lot of maps for Perdition's Gate. The stage Paradox gives me the impression it was inspired by another Doom 2 map, Dead Simple. You have a big outdoor area with 4 quadrants, each full of Mancubi, Revenants, countless hit scanners, and of course, some Barons and an Arachnotron. This stage is really tough, the toughest so far, having to worry about your health and ammo more than any stage I've covered. And despite it taking a good amount of time to get through, it feels so short because the pacing is super tight and it's really fun to run through. It's hard to say if this is my favorite map or not, but it's definitely up there. I'd even say it feels on par with maps made by Romero, McGee, or Peterson. Dr. Sleep's maps are all very visually appealing, having them all inspired by Dante's The Divine Comedy. They often take place in some sort of barracks or a fort, and they bring high level of challenge, often filling rooms with dozens of tougher enemies, barring progression behind hard-to-find secret walls or invisible ledges. Willits and Cly's maps are great, but they could fit in with Doom 2 in terms of difficulty, whereas Dr. Sleep truly forces you to master Doom in order to get through these levels. Also, I'd say the previous 2 mappers were more beginner-friendly, but with Dr. Sleep, things really start to ramp up quite a bit. I didn't appreciate them as much on my first playthrough as I did on subsequent runs, and overall, Dr. Sleep has a standard level of quality that begs you to check out the rest of Inferno. Virgil's Lead offers some challenge and ammo conservation, as well as reminding you to use your map to find hidden doors. Minno's Judgment has a nice layout, but could use some trimming down. I feel like a couple areas are there just for filler, and overall this is still a nice map. Garion stands out from the rest of his maps as being especially atmospheric, using a way darker and more moody lighting, allowing for some really interesting scenery. It also has an epic arena encounter at the end of the map, flooded with various demons for you to rip and tear through. Vesperus, his final mission, is my favorite of his maps. It feels like a grander version of Nessus, having a similar layout, and the difficulty is more backloaded, whereas Nessus is more front-loaded, I'd say. And finding that invisible ledge, I know people complain about it, I thought it was neat, you can see it from the map, and that epic cyber demon fight at the end was a lot of fun. Jim Flynn created a series of standalone maps before working on his Titan series. 2 maps in that series would be selected for his contribution towards the master levels. Flynn would go on to work at Team Eternal, which collabed with Team TNT on the level pack Eternal Doom, a 32 map release, and it would be acquired by TNT, where he would work on the Boom source port and numerous other Doom modding utilities. Flynn's 2 entries, Titan Manor and Trapped on Titan, are both really well-designed maps. The first set in a giant's mansion featuring a library, a den fit with a fireplace, and even a bedroom. Outside the perimeter is heavily guarded with countless hit scanners, arachnotrons, mancubi, cacodemons. It truly is a fun map. Following is Trapped on Titan, one of the longest maps and more challenging ones too. There aren't any cryptic secrets for progression like in a Dr. Sleep map, but each room houses a challenge more difficult than the last. Flynn also tests every skill here, from problem solving, platforming, juggling multiple weapons to use the optimal gun on each encounter. If you can get through these 2 Titan maps, you can get through anything in Doom 1 and 2, making this truly a master level. Onto the final mapper of this pack, Cranium, who became a notable mapper in the community with his Cabal series. When selected for master levels, he sent in all 12 maps he'd already created. 5 selected, and 7 were left as outtakes, which Cranium would publish as his 7 Cabal maps. Cranium's maps are some of, if not the, hardest maps in the master levels. First is Black Tower, which, going back to my Doom 1 playthrough, I said I wish Tower of Babel would have had more tower to it. Well, it seems Cranium had the same idea. This map has you enter and climb through the titular Black Tower, each floor housing some of the most difficult encounters, paired with some well-hidden switches barring progression. Reaching the top of the tower, you're met with an epic cyber demon fight among hordes of various demons. You can use infighting to help you somewhat, but after your invuln runs out, you're gonna need to finish things off quickly. This level is practically just Tower of Babel, but more developed and on steroids. Unfortunately, the mission doesn't end there, and you have to descend the tower to reach the exit. This map really suffers from not knowing when to end, and it just kills the pacing of what could have been one of the best Doom maps across all of the officially released games. Express Elevator to Hell is another notorious Cranium map. It starts you off already being swarmed by chain gunners and barons, but when you finally get past the lift section, there's 8 floors, each one more difficult than the previous, as you run through each path facing some of the toughest encounters this pack has to offer, hitting switches, collecting keys, juggling ammo conservation with low health. This map is truly a highlight of this release for its interesting concept and insane difficulty, putting most other maps to shame. People often criticize this map for being too difficult, but this is the master levels. This is not for the casual enjoyer of Doom 1 and 2. This is for the pros that love to learn and solve and master levels. roofs. If you reach the secret exit, you enter the only secret mission in this pack, Bad Dream. It's essentially one massive room with countless cyber demons. You have to activate a crusher to kill them all so you can grab the 3 keys and head to the exit. It's funny and a fun playthrough, but there's not much to it. I really wish this map would have had at least another room or two with imps and pinks with no ammo, forcing you to put that chainsaw to use a bit more. That would have made this map worth replaying and give it a little bit more edge to make it stand out and be memorable. Bloodsea Keep is Cranium's most bland map. There are cool set pieces like the jail cell, the plethora of crushers, which aren't necessarily a good thing, but people hate on them a little more than they deserve. They're just beginner's traps. It sucks, but, well, you gotta get past them. And it does end with a cool set piece, the Archvile's Throne. The Archvile's Throne is my favorite set piece in the whole level pack, but it's at the end of a level that I just don't really care much for. Lastly is Cranium's Mephisto Mausoleum, which, like with Black Tower, is a Doom map further developed and given steroids. Funny enough, when playing Doom 2's Icon of Sin, I said I wish there was more level before the encounter, and maybe have a few more sin walls, to make this encounter a bit more intimidating. Well, that's exactly what Cranium did here, and it definitely earns its spot as the finale of Master Levels in difficulty, in design, and in memorability. Cranium is a madman. His maps are insanely difficult, and at times daunting, but I won't be forgetting them anytime soon. Doom 1 and 2 are amazing games that can be experienced and enjoyed for both casual fans and the more hardcore players as well, with difficulty settings, 100%ing levels, challenge runs, etc. However, Master Levels was designed solely for the more hardcore and dedicated enjoyer of Doom. If you just want to casually get through some somewhat challenging levels like you got with Doom 1 and 2, this is not for you. And that's fine. I'd say I prefer an experience like Doom 1 and 2 more, but I can appreciate and respect what this pack is trying to do, and that's cater to the more hardcore audience. Master Levels was made by fans that played through Doom 1 and 2, that played through other mods and other community-made maps, so it only makes sense that these are going to ramp up the difficulty. It was made by hardcore fans for hardcore fans. Another thing with this release that's nice is there's countless maps out there for Doom 1 and 2. Even when they released this, they were able to find over 3,000 to throw on Maximum Doom, and that was in 1995. Without the Master Levels, these maps would just be lost to obscurity to the wider audience. So this gives newer and future players a chance to check out some historical maps, as well as possibly introduce them to the more dedicated Doom community. After playing Master Levels, maybe I'll go play the entirety of Inferno, or check out Raven, or maybe Thud. Maybe I'll go check out some newer map packs like Sunlust. If you liked this content, please like and subscribe, comment down below, anything that could help boost this in the algorithm, because if this video does well, I will make more content in the future based on unofficial and community-created Doom content. Probably not anytime soon, because I have other projects I'd like to get through, but please like and subscribe, and of course, thanks for watching. Next week, I should have a video on Final Doom coming out. One last thing. While I have footage of me getting wrecked by the opening to Express Elevator to Hell, I wanted to say that all the music I have in this video is not the official Master Level's OST. As far as I'm aware, with the pack I have at least, all the soundtrack is just the same as Doom 2. So what I used for this video is a fan-made OST. You can find it online on the YouTube channel Peter Lawrence Megasphere. That's the guy who created this. So I just wanted to say, if you like the music in this, go check out his stuff. He's got other OSTs he's made, and also, obviously, he's got more music for this pack. And also, I'm pretty sure you can edit your game files to include these MIDI files as the OST instead of the Doom 2 ones. I know I've seen Geno do that. I don't really know how to do all that kind of stuff, but hey, I would say that's probably the best way to play, because then you have some new music, and it is good. So, go check him out. And again, one last time, thank you for watching.